Phoebe, members of the media, thank you very much for honoring us by attending this media briefing, enabling us as a party to communicate our views, our decisions, and also our positions in the public discourse, in the narratives that have been built. As much as we will be talking about other issues, but in the main, we will focus on the 30th of June. Good afternoon to you all, and through you, the people of South Africa. The 30th of June has come and gone. As the dust settles, we wish to speak plainly to the nation, to reflect honestly on what we have just lived through, and to place on record 2 decades before the public. Let us begin with gratitude. On the 30th of June, the country stood firm. They called for a shutdown. South Africa did not shut down. Our children went to school. Our workers went to work. Our buses, our taxis, and our trains ran. Our clinics and our shops stayed open. The economy kept its feet, and we foresee no grave job losses from the action. For this, we thank the overwhelming majority of South Africans who refused to be conscripted into anarchy. And we thank the men and women of the South African Police Service for maintaining law and order in the Republic. The Border Management Authority for the sterling job they are doing on a daily basis, and our security services who stood their ground with professionalism and restraint. Where there was violence, intimidation and looting, because there was, the law took its course, and it will continue, and our security services who stood their ground with professionalism and restraint. Where there was violence, intimidation and looting, because there was, the law took its course, and it will continue to do so. We have said it before and we say it again. The enforcement of immigration law is the work of the democratic state, and the state alone. No mob, no march, and no self-appointed commander may take that power into their own hands, into opportunity at home. And disciplining the language and political conduct around migration in the spirit of the Durban Declaration. Stop calling abantu amakwerekwe, amakurugamba, all sorts of names. Stop calling people kafirs in their own land by the racist elements. That must stop. Argue your point, raise your issues, but do not denigrate, do not spew hatred and ethno-nationalism. Like Yuma Sigela said, sonke singabantu. And South Africa pride itself of Ubuntu. South Africa pride itself of Ubuntu. There are many things that are happening, which we agree are a direct result of illegal immigration. The ANC urges government to place this compact on the agenda of the African Union's mid-year coordination meeting at Al Amin in Egypt. It is not an instrument of exclusion, nor a retreat from the African inheritance of generosity. To those in flight, it is a structural offering rooted in Ubuntu and in solidarity of the frontline states that once sheltered our own. We are not being blackmailed when we are reminded about our history, but equally, we must address the truth and the facts that illegal immigration has become a burden for South Africa and affected South Africa and South Africa alone. Movement from accusation to understanding, from blame to shared responsibility, from crisis to compact. That is the movement we need to build. We need to set the record straight. 2 decades of action on immigration. A lie is circulating in our politics that the ANC government has done nothing about undocumented immigration. The opportunists repeat it. Too many swallow it. Today, we place the facts on the table and we let the people judge for themselves. The removals, the numbers do not lie. The democratic state, led by the ANC up to the point of the GNU today, has legally deported hundreds of thousands of people who had no lawful right to remain in the Republic. Between January 2012 and December 2016 alone, some 370,000 people were deported. Nearly 9 in 10 of them our neighbors from Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Lesotho. And the pace has quickened, not slackened. From 39,000 removals in 2023-2024 to 51,000 in 2024-2025, a 30% rise, and again to 57,000 in 2025-2026, with tens of thousands more this year at our ports of entry and in our communities. This is not the record of a government that has done nothing. It is the record of a state that enforces its laws, year in, year out, firmly and lawfully. This does not catch the cameras and the media. What catches the media is those who enter illegally in our country and settle in their numbers around our townships and the metropoles. This is not new and it is not small. At its peak in 2007, the democratic state legally deported some 300,012 people in a single year, the highest on record, and the work continues at our frontiers today. In a single festive season, the Border Management Authority intercepted more than 50,000 people at our ports and borderline, and attempted unlawful crossings have since fallen sharply. This is a state that acts and has acted for 2 decades. When the courts state our hand, here is the part the opportunists never tell you, time and again. When this government has moved to enforce immigration law, it has, with these events, taken a violent turn, and so on. News 24, Masungwini, I don't know what you make of the numbers. I don't want to argue with you, but I saw people who were mobilized in and around, even from the hostels, marching, and a build-up around Johannesburg and the surrounding areas, and as well as eThekwini. But all other provinces, even though there were marches, but they were not big. But that should not be the issue. for the ANC. The ANC should be concerned that there's a possibility that our people can be hijacked against itself and be turned against the ANC on this very issue. It's not a question of there were 50 or 100 or 20. That's the first thing we need to consider. Secondly, we need to read the room correctly, which we agree with the people. Are the issues that have been raised, leave the figures who are leading, are these issues not real? They are real. First, admit to those issues. And then, because you are leading GNU, you are a governing party, address the concern. Do not be oblivious and say that, no, they are drunk. Some of them get money from Israel and the CIA. You don't have even, some of them get money from the... No, that should not be an issue, preoccupation. That reality will come out. That people have got money to mobilize, they can travel. I don't know, these people are using jets or what. Pakela, I saw him in Joburg in the morning. In the afternoon, he was in Durban. I said, hey, I'm resourceful, Lamatot. Even we politicians, ANC has to hire a jet for you to campaign in 3 cities. Now, some guy in jail from Nongoma can travel from city to city. It's a concern, because we don't want our state and our country to be hijacked for ulterior motives. We don't. But that should not be our preoccupation. We are hard at work now to address the very same issues they are talking about. Me and you, we know the truth about the issues that they are addressing. And that is why there is a conflict of knowledge and data around the question of how many undocumented people are in the country. Stats SA says it is not the numbers that people have projected, 30 million, which means it's half of the South African population. Stats SA talks about 3-point-something million people who are undocumented in our country. And Risenga, the SG, the Statistician General, has given us that particular data. But others have been saying that there are 40 million people here. 5,000 people when they are marching, you will think that there are many. Take a drone and look at them. You will realize that there are 5,000. That's why we fight as the ANC all the time with the numbers, with the journalists. Because the journalist will just look at you and say there were 1,000 people there. And then we say you are lying with 20,000. They say you were 1,000 max. You were not 20,000 and all of that. And then they start to give you the analogy of this. But me and you and this group, if we get into the street and march, maybe say we are 5,000, we'll make this street look like if you take especially a view, make people to think that you were many. Imapai Chachalazen, there next to Market Theatre, fill that place and call the cameras, then we'll know you were 20,000 there. Not when you are running around, running amok, promoting violence, doing anything. Marches were peaceful in most parts of the country, but they were more vibrant in Gauteng and Durban, eThekwini. But everywhere in the country, 170 people were marching. Even in Kwakompo, where a king was installed, the numbers were not as big as that time. And business became business as usual. But the mobilization, we saw it. It was targeting Cape Town, City, Central. It was targeting Eastern Cape. It was targeting all parts of Gauteng. And then KZN. And you were bound to see numbers there. And then in Gauteng, where did it go? Soweto, Johannesburg, Central, and then Ekurhuleni, those areas. And even Pretoria, where we used to have a problem bigger problem of a settlement of illegal immigrants did not explode in terms of numbers and all of that. So local government there and government have done a good work to repatriate these people from Pretoria Central, and they continue to do that. So a lot of work has been covered. So we don't argue with the numbers. The question is, what is it that is being addressed? And that's what we need to attend to. Whether there were 40,000 people and all of that, of course the ANC gets worried when people get mobilized and they respond to some of the issues that we think normally will be blamed on the ANC government, which is what everybody will say. And that is what we're rebutting here, to say that, no, we are in this problem because of them. And now we reminded them. We have been addressing these problems since it came to the center stage. And whenever we go and address